So share with us a bit about your background. What were you doing in tech and how did you get started in real estate investing?
Yeah, no, it was really a fun journey. I graduated electrical computer engineering and I started working at IBM Micro, which is the division of IBM that design chips. And a big part of my job was to fry chips, not the potato ones, but the electronic chips. When I first took my job at IBM, my manager was asking me, "Where are you now?" Because I had to relocate from Boston to go work for IBM. And I said, I rented a two-bedroom apartment. He said, "No, you should really buy a house and rent out rooms." And this was in 1997. So all of a sudden, I became an accidental landlord. Personally, I didn't know a whole lot about renting and or buying even, or what a mortgage is. I'm still a first generation immigrant, pretty much. Came here at 16 and just went through life. So very quickly, I had to learn about real estate. What is a real estate? What's a mortgage? And what are the various different aspects of being a landlord very quickly.
Mm.
And that's how the journey started. But I've always worked in tech. My background has been in silicon design or chip design. And I've had a decent career, about 23 years in tech, where I was full time in tech, but I was always investing in real estate, just actively buying properties. And when I moved to the Silicon Valley in '06, I started buying here, I would say in '09, after the market has corrected, and got more sophisticated where I started buying short sales and
Ah.
doing a little bit more elaborate. I would say my first attempt to passive investing was most about me writing a check, closing my eyes, and sending the money. I was probably about 2017. And from then, you know, how the market was just great. You could just send money and then money comes back. But over time, I got to really understand, hey, what's a good deal? What's not a good deal? Returns were always coming back. There was just no issues. And up until like 2020 and 2021, when interest rates start changing, now you start seeing a differences. But that's a little bit about me, a little bit about my real estate journey. I've worked in three publicly traded companies as well as three startups, one of which got bought by Cisco.
Oh,
Also on
wow.
the call is my co-founder, Jesse Rogers, and that was like the phase two of me turning from a tech professional into a full-time real estate professional. So it's good to have Jesse here as well.
Wow. Good to meet you, Jesse. Oh, yeah, I did actually, we met in Dallas. That's right. We met in
Correct.
Dallas a year ago. I'm coming back in Dallas in April, so do come and hang out with us, Jesse. Okay, yeah, fascinating. So, 2017, you got into passive investing, and since then, are you still buying properties where you are the owner on, or is it all, when it comes to real estate, is it all passive investing at this point?
So great question. So I would say in about 2019, where I decided to basically exit tech, I started looking into becoming a full-time real estate investor. And part of that's really where me and Jesse we met. And it was in like a multifamily commercial real estate
Oh,
class.
okay.
We both did our certificate in commercial real estate investing. And our goal was to really go start our deals. So we actually, right in the midst of COVID, we acquired the first commercial building. So we're actually active investors buying actual properties. And our focus is triple net. We really like triple net. We buy really distressed triple net, all cash, place back a tenant in it, stabilize it, refinance it, and sell it as it actually appreciates. So while we're doing that, we brought along a few investors to just help us out, raise all the cash. We did not do a GPL; it just was purely a JV type structure, just the four of us. And on our first flip, actually, we call them a flip because it was just quick turn. We pretty much were lucky to put it under contract at an amazing place, and somebody comes and pays us 50% more within 6 months
Ah,
without us touching the building. We're like, okay, we'll
nice.
sell it. We made money, the investors made money, everybody's happy, but everybody's like, hey, when is the next deal? People's appetite pretty much opens up, and we're like, we don't have enough of those type of deals, and we're very picky on the type of deals. Jesse spent tremendous amount of time networking, connecting, getting all the deal flow, but it's really hard to get solid deal flow in the commercial triple net. So we're
I
like,
see.
okay, we started opening up to other investors. I was like, hey, I'm passively investing in these things. Would you be interested in investing alongside because we can negotiate? So a lot of my friends from tech started investing, and then we would literally go to sponsors like, hey, we're going to invest as a group. And then somebody recommended, hey, maybe you guys should structure into an SPV or into, so drill into that. Fast forward, Badri from Avister was contactly connecting me. I was like, okay, maybe it makes sense for us to structure one entity that allows us to invest as a group and onboard like-minded investors that want to invest alongside of us. So that's really when Bluestone Flagship was really co-founded in 2022. And our mission is basically to find well-vetted investments. We're ready to basically put capital in to passively invest and bring along a lot of our other investors, which typically a lot of our network in tech. Both me and Jesse are tech professionals by trade. So that's really where our network is. And both of us are super passionate about real estate investing. So that's really where the cross that happens for us.
Interesting. So share with us, because the legal structure that you're using sounds just like a typical fund of funds structure. Why do you call it that you don't raise capital, you bring investors along, even though it's like it sounds just the same, it's just a different way of raising capital and positioning it differently? Do you not charge any kind of like fund admin fees or anything like that? Or like what makes the way that you structured with your LPs, because they do come into your fund as an LP, right? What makes it different from you call your LPs, and what you do with them versus what we call our LPs that we raise money from them into our deal?
Sure. Where you're in the business of a fund of fund, at the end of the day, you have expertise in being able to get the deal flow and vet deals. And on the other side, you actually do have your investors, which are their LPs. And again, big part of what you're trying to do is really trying to match the deal flow with your investors.
Yep.
That naturally by itself, you're spending effort and time, and that effort and time, you're going to get rewarded, whether it's through fees you're going to get from the sponsors as a co-GP or in a fund of fund model, a spread between the deal economics that you get for your fund versus what you pass on to your investors, right? Somehow you have to get paid for it. So effectively, in a fund of fund model, your job as a part of your task is capital raising, because again, you're really trying to create that improved economics. So I'll say
Hmm.
what we do is similar yet slightly different in the sense that we don't go say, hey, I need to raise $1 million for this deal. We actually have the deal flow. We look at the deal flow. We vet the deal flow. When we find a deal, we try to negotiate in economics with the sponsor, get a feel about, hey, what threshold of economics we need to do. And if it fits within our criteria, if it fits within what we would like to invest in, we go in and meet with our LPs and we're like, okay, here's this deal. We really like it. Here's the upside, downside risk. So it's a little bit more than us just pushing email marketing to people to try to get people. It's really about educating our investors about this deal and why this deal makes sense for us and why we want to invest in it. And that's really the key part is we are investing in it in every deal that we actually bring in on the passive side and see, hey, what kind of traction within our LP investor partnership that we have, they're interested in this. Once we get a feel for it, we actually go in and actually subscribe as a group. Now, the improved economics that we are negotiating with sponsors flows back to our LPs, 100%. So we're not really sitting there and try to actually get a cut. And then when it comes to the expenses related to actually running this vehicle, running this LLC, effectively running this partnership, it's all shared on a pro rata basis. So if I'm actually naturally the largest investor in the fund, effectively. I think about it that way because I'm investing in every deal. So naturally, when it comes time to do a pro rata share of expenses, I am actually the biggest expense payer for the entity because
Gotcha.
I carry majority of the cost. So these are some of the nuances, if you want to think about it. That it's different. It's not like we're trying to get a deal at one rate and pass it on to the investor. Right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just a standard fund to fund model. But this is just how we were unique and different about it.
Would you say that it's more similar to an investment club, but using the fund legal structure?
It's a little bit more than an investment club because in an investment club, you're finding like-minded people that you want to invest together and you run your investment. Versus in Bluestone, we like to think about it differently because the level of relationship that we have among the investors, among the LP, we decided to go deeper and narrower. Because at the end of the day, I look at the amount of time that I need to manage. Managing 20, 30, 40 investors is very different than managing 200 LPs. And we want to spend very little of the time basically with the administrative level of task. So in an investment club, it's much, much broader. So the way we actually look at it is we're not only just looking at deals in real estate, we're looking at deal in debt, we're looking at deal in private equity, we're looking at deals in, the way we look at it and pretty much think about it more as a family And each one of us want to invest in various different things. Why not standardize how we're looking at things, how we're analyzing things? So it's not just me and Jesse analyzing things related to this. Anybody, any of the LPs that have a specific skill set in analyzing a different type of an investment steps in and takes over some of that capability and does the recommendation back to the group. If we decide to bring it on to the broader group, it actually they have to participate, and that's kind of part of our mandate. They have to participate as part of the deal. Hey, you cannot bring an angel investment thing and not put money on it or run the due diligence on it. So it's really about having a much tighter. An investment club, it's a lot broader, and not many people bring in deal flow. For us, anybody from the LP can bring in a deal. We vet it. Once it meets the criteria, we would open up for the rest of it. So these are probably some of the nuances that we found.
I
So
see.
some nuances different from a club, some nuances different than a fund of fund, but
Right.
effectively the same thing. We're taking money and we're deploying it in investment.